And we're recording now. You're live.
Well, my full name is Roy William Audie. And when were you born? July the 9th, 1924. And I was born in Waymansville, Indiana. And my parents' names were Orville Audie and Verba Audie. And Orville, I'm not sure. Let's see, it was Orville. I think his middle name was Frederick Audie, and my mother's name was Verba Lena Audie. And siblings, did you have any siblings? Yes. I had a sister, one sister, named Wilma Jean Audie. And if so, how many and how old? Well, she was born, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was in 1931.
So she was 7 years younger.
Yeah, about 6 or 7 years younger. Okay, now, if so, how many? And that's all.
Push this
What's this
down
one?
button right here.
This one?
Yeah, and it'll go down. You can scroll through.
Of course, I am now 87. So, how much school did you finish and where? Well, I graduated from elementary school at Waymansville, went to a one-room schoolhouse where I graduated. In fact, I had 8 grades in this one-room schoolhouse. And sometimes there wouldn't be a grade in it. Maybe they'd have the second. They wouldn't have a second grade, but normally they had eight different grades. And then eventually they got into a bigger school and did away with the one-room schools. But then I came to Columbus High School. And my first year at Columbus High School, I had to ride with somebody who worked in Columbus. That was Frank Aldenhagen, who lived about a half mile north of where we lived in Jackson Township, where Waymansville is. And he worked in Columbus at the Beltrami County Courthouse. And I rode in Columbus with him and then walked from the courthouse to the high school.
Was Frank Aldenhagen Bob Aldenhagen's father?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And how much school did you finish and where? Well, I graduated from Columbus High School in 1942. And then I went to Indiana University and spent 1 year going to school there. Then I entered the Army and was in the Army and went to, I eventually wound up at Fort Custer, Michigan. And then I went to University of Detroit to school a couple of semesters in the ASTP program, and then I went back into, that was when I was in the Army. Then I went down to, Louisiana with the Armored Infantry, and from there we went over to overseas to England and into Germany. And then after the war, after World War II, we came back and I went back to Indiana University and graduated there with a BS degree in that was, I believe, in 1948. And then we moved back to Columbus from Bloomington, and got a job. First, I had a job with a gas company here, and it was a temporary. Well, it turned out to be a temporary job, but then I got a job as a teacher, elementary school teacher, teaching third grade, and I liked that, so I continued to go on back to school again, and I got a license to teach, and
Now, a license to teach, was that a certification program or was that a degree?
Well, it was a certification program if you take certain things, because I had studied business teaching. I was working toward a degree in teaching business.
Okay.
But I taught elementary, and I hadn't studied that. But,
okay. The one in the middle. This one.
This one?
Yes. Okay, so much. Okay,
how much school did you finish and where? And what was your career? Well, my career.
What would you consider your career?
It was in teaching and sales, but my sales work was part-time when I was going to school. Of course, I worked for my dad, and that was in sales too, in a general store. But I worked at J.C. Penney's and at Dell Brothers while I was going to high school, and then I worked up at Camp Atterbury for one summer before I went to school, after I got out of high school. And what was your career? Well, my career was in education, field of education. I was an elementary principal, and I also taught in the elementary schools, and I also taught in high school. Most of my experience was in elementary, and I enjoyed that and enjoyed being a school principal. And I had a license from University of Colorado. I say license. I got a degree from the University of Colorado after I got away from IU, and after a few years, I believe that was in I can't remember exactly. But anyway, I got that degree there, and so that helped me get. I could work in school administration because it was in that field. So I had a license to be a school superintendent in Indiana, and also in Colorado. And at one time I was thinking about moving into that area of of school administration, and then I didn't, and I applied for a job in Colorado and almost decided on it, and then I decided against it. The pay wasn't that good, and I just decided against it, and so I stayed with my elementary principalship here in Columbus. Okay, and I retired in 19, let's see, I think it was 1974. Hard to remember way back then. Okay, that was my career. No, what else?
Um, down button. Down. If it doesn't go down anymore, you've reached the end. But there's a lot of stuff.
Does your name mean anything? Well,
I'll cut him off after he does this.
My grandfather's name, my mother's dad, his name was Roy Carmichael. So I was named Roy after him, and named William, my middle name, after my other grandfather. And do you have a birth story that you were told by your parents? Or is there a popular birth, or is there a popular family birth story for one of your siblings? Let's see. I don't know of any particular birth stories, but
it's fine if you don't. I was just trying to jog your memory or anything, see if there was something there. Dinner's done, so we can pause this and pick it back up.
Okay.
So.